Close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. I know what it feels like to quietly carry that pain no one else can see, that almost secret feeling that, no matter how hard you try, life keeps slipping through your fingers. I understand how difficult it is to live with that sense of helplessness in the face of destiny, as if you're waiting for a change that never comes, an answer that never arrives. And perhaps, deep down, you sense the universe remains distant and silent, while your heart quietly asks, does life really have to be this way? This is exactly what Neville Goddard speaks about when he reveals that only those who choose truly change. He teaches that real transformation happens in the very moment you decide to see beyond what your physical eyes can perceive. It's not something you need to achieve, it's something you choose to recognize, something that is already present, simply waiting for you to allow yourself to see it. Neville compares this emotional blindness to someone wandering in circles in the dark, feeling lost without realizing that the light has always been there, close by, just waiting for you to dare to open your inner eyes and see with your heart. When Joe Dispenza speaks of the quantum collapse, he's not referring to something distant or complicated. He's pointing to that subtle, silent, yet deeply powerful moment when a conscious choice changes everything within you. It's like the instant you decide you deserve something better, when you become willing to let go of the old stories you've told yourself so many times and finally accept a new emotional truth. It doesn't happen outside of you. It is an internal, silent realignment that shifts your energy and your possibilities forever. You've probably heard countless times that you attract what you think about, but Neville Goddard is even more precise when he says, you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are able to accept as true. This means it's not the force of your desire that shapes your reality, but the depth of your emotional acceptance. It is the vibration you quietly sustain within you every day that determines what arrives in your life. It's not about beautiful words or surface wishes, but about what you truly believe you are worthy to receive. It's a strange paradox, this freedom and responsibility to create your own reality. But notice, it is exactly there that your greatest strength and your greatest challenge reside. Real, profound, spiritual freedom demands the courage to accept that you are not being punished or abandoned by the universe. On the contrary, you are being lovingly and patiently invited to fully embrace who you are and the reality you wish to experience. You are free, but this freedom requires a conscious, loving decision that comes from the soul. The universe is always listening to you, waiting only for your permission to bring to you what your heart has truly chosen to accept. And now, in this moment of deep sincerity between us, an essential question arises. Are you ready to make that choice? Because only those who choose can change. Neville Goddard reveals the secret of transformation and a new reality. And today, perhaps, is the day you finally decide to see. There is a cycle so subtle, so silent, that few ever notice its presence operating beneath every decision, every reaction, every recurring thought. This cycle doesn't reveal itself easily. It hides in everyday gestures, in automatic responses, in the tired sigh you give in front of the mirror, or in the unexplained heaviness that sits on your chest on colorless mornings. The truth is, so often you feel stuck in the same place, going in circles, unable to understand why time passes, but nothing really changes. Yet at the root of this sense of powerlessness lies something deeper. The old habit of choosing without realizing you are choosing, of living life on autopilot, not noticing that, at every moment, your subconscious is there, making choices on your behalf. The silent factor that sabotages your frequency is not the outside world, but this ancient survival mechanism where old wounds, forgotten memories, traumas that were never fully seen or embraced continue to operate as invisible programmers of your present. It is not uncommon to carry emotional patterns inherited from other times, patterns that seem to repeat as if they were part of destiny, but in truth, they are unconscious choices, made again and again, day after day. The subconscious, this invisible guardian of unprocessed emotions, often takes control, leading you to accept situations, relationships, and limitations that no longer belong in your story. It's as if your life is being guided by a song you never chose to dance to, but that keeps echoing, even when silence would be more authentic. There is a very common and painful misconception. believing that feeling stuck means that nothing is happening. Yet deeper aim, but about recognizing, with compassion, that repeating patterns is itself a choice, even if a silent one. There is a question that serves as an invitation to your soul. Are you truly awake, or merely dreaming your life with your eyes open? At what point along your journey did you stop choosing consciously and begin to accept the autopilot of your emotional patterns? The body knows. The body feels. When something within you reacts before you can even think, when emotion arrives before understanding, when sadness, fear, or anger appear without warning, it is the subconscious at the helm. Recognizing this is not a cause for shame. It is a call for inner honesty. It is a reminder that life only begins to transform when you bring into the light what has remained in the shadows for so long. The invisible cycle of unconscious choice is, above all, a silent invitation to awakening. There is no blame, no rush, no demand for perfection. There is only the opportunity, little by little, to recognize this mechanism, to look at it with gentleness, and perhaps, for the first time, to choose differently, because true freedom does not lie in never having been conditioned, but in realizing that, even if you have been conditioned, you can learn to choose again. There is a silent truth that few are ready to embrace immediately. Desire, by itself, does not create. Wanting, no matter how intense, does not become reality by the force of will alone. Neville Goddard, with almost disarming clarity, reveals that most people fail to manifest deep change because they confuse wanting with emotional acceptance. Desire is only the first breath, a spark of possibility, but it is deep, silent acceptance that truly plants the seed of transformation. And it is in that space between wanting and accepting that almost everyone stumbles, returning again and again to the cycle of frustration and disbelief. There is an invisible error, as common as it is hidden, to desire a new life, a new love, a new state of health, yet remain emotionally identified with absence, with lack, with the old. It is like trying to put on new clothes without first removing the old layers of pain and disbelief. You want it so much, you long for it deeply, yet somewhere deep in your chest, you still feel that it isn't yours, that you can't have it, that it won't come. And this is where manifestation dissolves before it even begins, because the vibration of waiting, of doubt, of fear, blocks what you seek. Neville Goddard is clear. There is no future manifestation. Everything happens in the now. Everything depends on your immediate acceptance, not on desire projected into the future. The invitation is to a new perspective. Instead of struggling to achieve, allow yourself to experience, inwardly, the feeling of already having. Imagine yourself wrapped in the emotion that what you seek is already unfolding, here and now, silently, within the sacred space of your feeling. To visualize is not merely to imagine images, it is to truly wear the feeling. It's as if, for a few moments, you allow yourself to immerse in the frequency of your chosen reality until it becomes as familiar as the life you already know. With each conscious repetition of this process, new pathways are carved in your brain, your body, your soul, and the universe begins to respond, not to your desire, but to your conviction. Reality is not created by the force of desire, but by the deep conviction that it is already yours. This simple phrase holds immense power. It contains the key to understanding why so many spend years trying, asking, waiting, and so few truly live what they dream of. Wanting is not enough. You must feel, accept, and emotionally align with what you wish to manifest. And this is not something to be forced, not something you pretend, not something to be rushed or approached with anxiety. It is a state of silent surrender, where the mind becomes still, the heart becomes quiet, and the body finally allows itself to inhabit the chosen reality. Neville Goddard's law of assumption is not a trick, nor a shortcut to escape pain. It is a radical invitation to self-honesty, an opportunity to realize that life, just as it is, always reflects what you have accepted, consciously or unconsciously, as true. And if this realization is frightening, it is also liberating. For if you were able to create a difficult reality, you are equally capable of creating a new, lighter, more aligned and truer life. It all begins when you decide not only to desire, but to accept that it is possible. When you wear, in the innermost core of your being, the certainty that the miracle is already yours. Most people feel a restlessness, a background noise that never fully quiets. Even in moments of apparent peace, there is a silent anxiety, a sense that something is still missing, that life could be different if only one detail changed. This inner noise distorts your truest manifestations, blocks the flow of what could arrive, and causes the mind to live between an unchangeable past and a future that has not yet been born. Yet, at the center of this chaos, there lies a forgotten bridge, the coherence between heart and brain. Neuroscience now confirms what the ancient teachers always knew. There is a constant, invisible, and profound communication between the heart and the brain. The heart is not just an organ that pumps blood, it actually sends more signals to the brain than the other way around. When this communication is out of harmony, the entire biology falls out of balance, the mind becomes confused, emotions fluctuate, and the body responds with symptoms often mistaken for fate. But when you experience a state of gratitude, of presence, of silent love, something realigns. The heart begins to set the pace, like an invisible conductor guiding the orchestra of your thoughts and sensations. It is in this state that the impossible begins to happen, because energy flows without noise, without blockages. Emotion is more powerful than isolated mental intent. It's not enough to repeat affirmations, to think positively, or to project your desires if your heart is out of sync, beating to a different rhythm. True transformation does not occur on the level of ideas, but within the energy shared between thought and feeling. When mind and heart unite in a frequency of peace, manifestation becomes natural. The body relaxes, the breath deepens, your gaze softens, and life begins to respond in a new way, as if a portal has quietly opened within you. In critical moments, when anxiety threatens to take over, there is wisdom available in the simple act of returning to your heart. Feel the air flowing in and out. Rest your awareness at the center of your chest. Imagine a gentle light pulsing there. Slowly, let your breath guide your body into a state of safety and serenity. Notice how your heart begins to calm your mind, how your thoughts reorganize, how tension gives way to relief. This is the silent power of coherence. It's not force, it's not effort, it's surrender. The heart is, in truth, the silent conductor of the orchestra of the mind, and when it leads, the whole body moves in harmony with life. This is not magic, but profound science. It is embodied spirituality, and it is also the beginning of a new way of being, where each choice is born from the meeting of reason and feeling, of presence and intention. On the path of searching for meaning and healing, many encounter spirituality and feel, for a few moments, relief, renewed hope, a sense that there is finally a place where pain can be held. But it's easy, often without noticing, to turn that search into just another invisible trap. False performative spirituality is subtle. It appears in those moments when you feel you must show strength, optimism, well-being, even when, inside, there is only exhaustion and doubt. It appears when you repeat beautiful words, practice gestures of gratitude, or visualize radiant scenes, yet your heart remains silent, still holding unspoken hurts and pains. Pretending to be well is understandable, a protective instinct, but it can also become a barrier between who you are and what your soul truly longs to transform. The temptation to use spirituality as an escape is as subtle as it is powerful. It may seem easier to elevate your thoughts, to ignore heavy emotions, to distract yourself with practices and rituals, than to allow yourself to sit, for just a few minutes, in the presence of your own fear, your own sadness, the emptiness that refuses to leave. But every escape, even when disguised in light, is simply a form of resistance. Neville Goddard and so many other profound teachings point out that embracing your shadow, the discomfort, the doubt, the anger, the resentment, is the most honest and transformative act you can make. For it is in fully accepting your humanity, with all its pain and uncertainty, that true light is born. There is no genuine spiritual leap without first crossing the dark terrain of what you have avoided for too long. Many seek answers, methods, ready-made recipes, hoping spirituality will offer a quick way out of pain. But the truth is, embracing your shadows is more powerful than forcing light. It's not about celebrating suffering, but about welcoming everything that is alive within you. without judgment, without hurry, without masks. When you acknowledge your self-deception, when you allow yourself to be honest with yourself, when you look at your wounds without trying to explain or justify them, something realigns, something begins to heal. A clarity arises that can only be found when pretending stops and your soul is finally able to breathe. Ask yourself gently, am I building an inner temple, solid and silent, able to withstand life's storms? Or am I raising sandcastles, fragile and always at the mercy of the next wave? There is no wrong answer, no perfect path. There is only the courage to look at what is real, to understand that spirituality is not about hiding from pain, but allowing it to reveal what needs more presence, more compassion, more truth. When this space is created within you, transformation stops being an effort and becomes a natural consequence of truly meeting yourself. There is a profound, often invisible difference between wanting to change and deciding to change. Wanting is fluid, hesitant, drifting between hope and doubt. It dreams, it waits, it postpones. Decision, by contrast, is firm, silent, yet radical. It arises from an intimate place where the soul recognizes it is tired of the old and without drama chooses a new path. It is in this moment, almost imperceptible to the outside world, that energy shifts and reality begins to be rewritten, even if nothing seems to have changed on the surface. Imagination, so often dismissed as fantasy or childish dreaming, is, for Neville Goddard, the true creative act. It's not about escaping life, but about accessing, through feeling and imagining, a frequency where what you desire is already real. When you close your eyes and allow the desired scene to fill with color, shape, texture, emotion, when you see yourself living, breathing, feeling this new reality as if it is already present, you are, in truth, activating the energy of real manifestation. It's not a trick. It's not self-deception. It is a vibrational reprogramming, silent yet powerful, capable of transforming your body's chemistry, aligning your mind, and opening space for life to respond to your new choice. Manifestation does not occur through mental effort. It is born from emotional decision, from an inner commitment, from the quiet certainty that there is no turning back to the old. This is why simple rituals, practiced with sincerity, gain power. A gesture repeated at night before sleep can become the anchor for a new reality. To feel, even for a few minutes, that what you desire is already pulsing in your body, is already true for your heart, is already available to your soul. It is in this state of silent surrender that the impossible ceases to be an obstacle and becomes the way. Because you are no longer trying, no longer waiting, you are truly choosing a new frequency for your existence. Stories of transformation rarely happen on the outside. They begin with the silent decision of someone who, after years of trying in every possible way, finally understands. It's not about struggle. It's not about conquest. It's about acceptance. It is about truly wearing the new identity you wish to express in the world. There are those who, in a single moment of clarity, changed everything in their lives. Not because the world changed, but because their inner vibration aligned with a new truth. Life simply responded to the subtle, silent command of that emotional decision. Within this space, imagination is not fantasy. It is the very creative force of the universe, available, humble, waiting only to be chosen, nurtured, embodied. Here, manifestation stops being a distant promise and becomes an embodied, lived, everyday experience. And every transformation, without exception, begins in that secret instant when you decide. Perhaps Neville Goddard's greatest secret is, in truth, the simplest and most silent of all. Change is a conscious choice, never the result of external circumstances. It doesn't matter how many times the world turns, how many disappointments or challenges you have faced. The power to transform your story always rests in the palm of your hand, at the center of your chest, in that sacred space where your ability to choose anew resides. Life does not expect perfection. It does not require ready-made answers. It only asks for presence and honesty to recognize, yes, everything that blooms was first born as a silent seed, planted by the intimate gesture of a true choice. Neville Goddard loved to use the metaphor of emotional seeds. Every assumed thought, every feeling patiently cultivated, every new inner vision is a seed cast into the invisible soil of existence. And the soil does not respond to surface-level desire, but to the vibrational quality of the seed. The deeper your feeling of acceptance, the more vibrant your manifestation will be. Planting emotional seeds is not a task for a single day or a single season. It is a subtle process of repetition, of silent care, of hope renewed with every sunrise, even when nothing seems to be changing on the outside. In this way, the power of conscious choice reveals itself day after day in the way you decide to nourish what you wish to see blossom in your life. Bruce Lipton's science confirms, your inner environment shapes your outer reality. Your body listens to what your soul whispers. Your beliefs, your feelings, your emotional states become signals to every cell, every system, every gesture. The inner universe quietly constructs the outer one. Real transformation never begins outside, never depends on chance, on another, or on time. Everything starts the moment you allow yourself to truly feel the energy of what you have chosen to experience. There is no separation between spirituality and biology. There is only an ongoing, sacred dance between intention, emotion, and matter. Along this journey, many pitfalls have revealed themselves. The risk of living on autopilot, the confusion between wanting and accepting, the temptation to ignore the heart and trust only the mind, spiritual self-deception, resistance to the shadow, the fear of deciding. Each of these stumbling blocks is also an invitation to honesty, to self-compassion, to the courage to take a new step, even when doubt is great. The path does not require haste nor heroism. It asks only for sincerity before the life that pulses within you. And now, after so many discoveries, after looking more deeply within, the question remains like a seed that only you can water. Are you ready to choose the reality you long for, or will you continue living what you unconsciously accept? Perhaps the answer will not come today. Perhaps it will arrive in the silence of the night, or in the sigh of a new day. But know this, the universe never tires of listening. And every transformation, whether silent or grand, begins in the very moment you allow yourself to choose.